What's up, creators? So today we are finally going to start on the code for the application. In this video, we're going to go from the login screen and sign up screen that we built in XD in episode 2 to an actual working application like this. Well, working as in the UI is working. So here we can enter stuff and look at it and everything. So let's get into the video. Before we get started, I wanted to mention about how important planning is. I know we had 3 episodes about it, but I think I could have done at least like 10 more. I think planning is one of the most underappreciated parts of a project. It doesn't get as much focus as the actual coding of it or writing the application, but without good planning, you might run into dead ends, you'll waste time and money later on in the project, and it's just very important. Also, if you want to see the whole process of how we went to build this thing with uncut and with everything included, there was a live stream that I did before this, and I think it was live stream number 3, but I'll link it in the description if you want to check that out. But alright, as far as the code, we can remove all this nonsense. We don't need any of it. We're going to make our own primary swatch. We don't need that. And then let's just remove all of this. Alright, and now we have a clean app. So let's get the folder structure down. We're going to need a screens folder, models folder, a utils folder, services, and a widgets folder for widgets that will be used throughout the app. And then also in the whole like root of the repository, you're going to need an assets folder. So inside the assets folder, we're going to want to bring in this where'd that go? Our logo that we created. So this logo. This might be updated later, but for now, we're going to use this. And then we can create 2 screens. One called the login, and another one called sign up. Inside the login screen, we're going to have a login.dart. Inside the sign up screen, we're going to have the same thing, except signup.dart. Then also in here, we're going to have a local widgets folder. And same thing here, local widgets. Alright, this folder structure, if this is your first time seeing it, I have a video on my channel for how I set up my folder structure all the time and why I do it this way. So I'll link that in the description as well if you want to check it out. So let's start off with the login screen. A general rule that I use is to always use a stateless widget first until you realize that you need something other than a stateless widget. And let's import material and everything. And what I like to do is for most of the classes that I create, I like to put an hour before it, just so you know it's yours. So for example, if we were using some package for a login, you'll know that if it has a prefix hour, that you created it. For small projects, it's not important, but for bigger ones, it could get confusing. And let's say we create a global widget called container, like that has a specific container. I'm going to call it our container, and that's something we will do later. So inside the login screen, we need a scaffold. And we are not going to have an app bar, but we do need a body, and we'll just have a row in there as our main thing. So if we go to our main, material app, home, we could just go to our login. And we'll have it like that for now. If you remember the architecture, we're probably going to want to send this to something else later on, but for now, we just want to see it. It's not a problem. So in this row, what do we want? We want everything to be aligned in the middle. So main axis alignment, center. Then for children, we're going to want to do expanded. This is because of something we're going to run, a problem we're going to run into later if we don't. And then add a padding with edge insets all of 20. And then inside of that, we're going to have a child of list view. The reason I want to use list view is because if the content goes below the screen, or let's say a keyboard pops up, you're not going to get an error saying that you can't see the stuff. You can just scroll and like add it in. So for padding, we don't need padding for this. Well, you could add padding right to the list view, so we don't even need the previous thing. We could remove this widget. And then here we'll have children, some padding at the top. Because we want to give it some space. And then the child in here will be our image dot asset, and then assets slash logo dot png. So we don't have this assets.logo defined in our app yet. We just brought it in. So let's copy that. Go to the puffspec.yaml. Uncomment this. And add the link that we have, but we don't need the quotes. Now we can remove this one as well. Alright, so here we have the very basics of our app. That'll just show a little, our logo, pretty much. So let's check out what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. Atrocious. But that's because we haven't set up our theme for the app yet. So for theme, I like to call it ourtheme.dart and put a file in here. So let's create a class called ourTheme, and in here create a function that returns theme data, and we can call it build theme, and return theme data. That was atrocious too. Can't even spell return. Return there. Then here, let's bring in material.dart. And now in our main, we can create a theme called our theme dot build, then import our theme dot build theme. What's the problem? So, two problems. One problem, you can't statically access this member. So I need to create an instance of it. And there, now we have it working. Second problem, we named our file our there. So let's rename that to our theme, please. Much better. And here, let's fix that to our theme. Alright, so then in our theme, let's start creating a theme for this application. So one thing I like to do is give my colors a variable. So the green color that we're using, we're going to call it light green. And there's color dot from a RGB here. What? And IntelliSense is not being there for me right now. So the A is brightness. We want it to be full brightness, or transparency, I think. Want it to be full, then 213, 235, and 220. So we are light green. And we can make our canvas color to be light green. Now if we save it, we're having error right here. So now if we save it, ta-da, our app looks a lot better already. One thing I like to do as well is for the debug show check mode thing, I like to set it to false, just so we can see our app exactly how it looks. So there, it looks much better, even though we don't have much. So now in our login screen, what's the next thing we need? We need a login form. So again, make this stateless until you need it to be stateful. And we can just do our login form. Man, what's going on today? Alright, I restarted my computer and now it looks like it's behaving better. So here we have our login form. Inside here, so the login form, we're going to do a sized box of height 20, and then we're going to show our login form. So inside the login form, we're going to want to add a container that's white all around. But one thing we see from the whole app is that we use this white container throughout the application, even down here. So what I think that should be, or what I would like to do, is add a global widget called our container .dart. Our container is going to be stateless again. So our container. And then we add material. Inside that container, we're going to want to pass a widget called child, just to stick with the naming convention of the whole app, of Flutter overall, I mean. Add constructors for it, so we can pass to it. Then inside here, we want to give it some padding. Edge insets.all 20. And then the big thing we need here is decoration. And then child, we can just pass the child. So the reason we want this container is so every container that we have has the same decoration throughout the app. So decoration is box decoration. And background blend, no, we don't want that. I want to give it a color of colors.white. We want to give it a border radius of border radius dot circular, no, dot circular of 20. And then we want to give it a box shadow. And our box shadow is going to look something like this. Color is going to be colors.gray. Blur radius is going to be 10.0. Spread radius is going to be 1.0. Offset is going to be 4.0, comma 4.0. And let's put our commas in. I think I actually don't need this bracket here. I am wrong. But I do need to put a comma so everything looks nicer. Wait, why do I need this bracket? What's the problem that it shows? Oh, it needs to be a list. Okay. Alright, so we shouldn't see it now because we don't have it declared anywhere, but this is the container we're going to be using throughout the app. So login form, we want to actually use our container, not just container. So here we have our container. We can save it. We should see something pop up. No, maybe not. But if we pass a child and a column with a bunch of children, we should see something. We have no children yet. Maybe if we have a text widget in here saying hello. Oh, because we do have that there. We're not debugging anymore. That's definitely the issue. There we go. It's beautiful. So what do we want? At the top we wanted to say login, right? So we're going to add a padding with edge insets symmetric. And then the vertical is going to be 20. And horizontal is going to be 8. Nice. And the child will be a text widget. And it's going to have the words log in. But we also want to give it some styling. Man, why does IntelliSense not want to help me today? Call it text style. The color we want is something we should define. So let's go to our theme. And in here, let's add a couple more colors. From our XD document, we had these two colors. The darker gray and then the lighter gray. So the codes for those, color light gray equals color dot from AR 255, 164, 164, 164. And then we want the darker gray equals, there we go. Helped me out this time. And 119, 124, and 135. So our primary color is going to be the same as the canvas color. Or actually, let's make it the light gray. And then our accent color. Actually, no, I want the accent color to be light gray. So primary color should be light green as well. And then our secondary color, or is there, let's just do secondary header color. We'll call it, we'll have it be the darker gray. So the color we wanted to use here is going to be defined in theme.of context dot secondary header color. And then let's also give it a font size of 25 and a font weight of font weight dot bold. And a little bit more there. Looks okay. So next, let's add some form fields. So you have a text form field with decoration of input decoration, prefix icon of icons dot alternate email, and then let's have a hint text of email. And what's the problem here? And I put that inside the padding, so we want to drag this out to here. I said we want to drag this outside of the padding. What? Come on, man. Nothing's working for me. Alright, so here we have a nice email. Alright, then let's add a size box of 20. Height 20. And then let's add another text field. Text form field. Actually, we could just copy what we had up there because it's going to be pretty similar. Except the email is now going to say password. And here we're going to do lock outline. Beautiful. Then let's add another size box of height 20 and a raised button with a child of padding. The padding is going to have edge inset symmetric, horizontal 100. And inside that padding, we want to add a child of text. It says log in with a style, text style, colors.white, font weight dot bold, and font size of 20. There, and then one more thing. Oh, we want to add a on pressed. No, hold on. Inside the raise button on pressed. We'll have it not do anything for now. And then last thing we have is a flat button with the on press that does nothing. And then we can have a child of text saying don't have an account, sign up here. There. So it doesn't really look like what we showed at the beginning of the video, but that's because we have to edit the theme a little bit. And then one more thing, it has this property called material tap target size. Let's do material tap target size dot shrink wrap. That's going to bring this a little bit closer to the login button. See? Alright, so when we get back to our theme, we want to add a couple more properties. So hint color, we want to add light gray. Input decoration theme. Input decoration theme. We want to give a border of outline input border. Border radius. It's going to be border radius dot circular of 20. And a border side of border side color light gray. And we need to add some commas in here to make things look a little bit nicer. Alright, so we got a little bit different border. Then we want to have focused, hold on, focused border. For the focused border, we also want the outline input border. But instead of light gray, let's do light green. And I got a little too much going on, I think. Yeah, there. So what does that do? When we click into it, you'll see it turns green on the outside. I think that looks a little bit nicer. Alright, so the input's done. Now let's do button theme. Button theme data. We can do button color, darker gray, padding, edge inset symmetric, horizontal of 20, min width of 200, height of 40, and shape of rounded rectangle border with a border radius of border radius circular 20. And we want to bring that back here. Alright, so now it's looking a lot more like what we had. So, login screen is pretty much done. Let's do one more thing, and that's add something for this function down here that leads us to the new screen. So we want to do navigator dot of context dot push material page route builder context actually let's create it first. STL our sign up, and here we can call the our sign up. Beautiful. So this takes us to a black screen because we have nothing. So in the sign up screen, it's going to be very similar to what we had in the login screen. So for the sign up, let's just start with the same thing we had in the login, and we'll adjust it as needed. So we don't need the logo anymore, but instead we need a back button. So let's see what that looks like. Our login form. All right, we don't need that either. And we might have to restart it. Well, we don't have to restart. We just had to change the class name because we still have the old class name. So here we have a back button. We can click it and go back. That's going to be the main difference. So after the back button, hold on, let's create an empty sign up form widget. So sign up form .dart. Our sign up form. Then here we can add material.dart. Perfect. So sign up screen, let's have a size box of height 20 and our sign up form. Actually, let's make the size box height 40. So let's see. Well, it's not going to have anything just yet, but so one thing I don't like how this is in the middle. One way to fix that is by wrapping it in a row, and then do main axis alignment, main axis alignment dot start. That'll put it right there. So now to the sign up form, which is the last thing we really need. We can copy what's in our login form pretty much. Control A, Control C. Sign up form, Control A, Control V. Rename it to our sign up form. Save it, and there. So we don't need this. We can change the name of this to sign up. We can remove the flat button at the bottom, and then we can add 2 more text form fields. Control C, add Control V, Control V. So let's see how that looks. Beautiful. And then down here, let's also change that to sign up. Here it's going to be confirm password, and then we can have lock open. Then here we'll have password. I'll have lock outline. Email's fine. Up here we will have full name, and then person outline. Sign up, email, password, everything is going to look just like it did on the other screen. And that is it. We have a working UI for the login and sign up screen. One thing I realized just now is in the password, if we type something, we're seeing the actual letters, which we don't want. That's really easy to fix. So we could just go to here, text form field, obscure text, set that to true. And then we can copy that to this one above, as well as in our login form. And let's save both of those. And there we go. We have a working app with our theme being controlled in one file. Have a container that's going to be used throughout the app. And we have our login with the login form and a sign up with a sign up form. That's pretty much it. This code will be available on GitHub. If you have any questions or anything, make sure to leave in the comments. If you're enjoying the series, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for watching.